Well, hello everyone. Good day, good afternoon. Hope you're all doing well. Let me just adjust some stuff over here on my end really quick. This audio feels a little loud in my ears. But if you're just tuning in, drop in, say hello. Let me know where you're tuning in from, because it's always cool to see familiar faces in the stream. Yeah, so let me actually switch over to this. My name is Colby Kleitz. I'm Orlando, Florida, and today we're going to be working on a booklet. So this is actually part 3 in kind of the series where I was doing last weekend, because I figured, it'd be really good just to focus on it and let's knock this out and build this as a full fleshed out project. So that's kind of the dream here. A little bit about what I'm working on right here. So to take a step back, let me bring this up right here. So on my Behance page, you can see an older project that I uploaded kind of recently, so I guess it's not really older. It was like the branding for like a music festival, for Gasparilla Music Festival. And yeah, when you explore that, you can see the challenge and solution I had on there, as well as the logo system I'm working with, that I created. And then use the symbols, typefaces, colors. So you can see right here we have the adventure guide. Hey Jack, thanks for tuning in. Hopefully my audio is okay. I assume you probably let me know though if it wasn't. So it's good to see you, Jack. Oh yeah, so this was the original mock-up I had for this adventure guide, where yeah, it was just a flat mock-up and nothing else to it. And then the rest of the branding assets. You've got a map behind you today. Yeah, I do. So normally, I've been going back and forth between streaming at my sister's house versus like my apartment, just because I live out in Orlando by like UCF, but there's not much going on here right now. So right now I'm streaming from my apartment, so you can tell this huge map, and the audio is good. Sweet. No worries, Jack. And thank you very much. Yeah, so this is kind of the branding that I was trying to apply to this welcome book. And I figured I might as well spend a little more time, building a full fleshed out book rather than jump into a new project, because it might be good to have, some really strong pieces. And a while back I actually designed the mobile website in Adobe XD, so you can find that video also on my page. But yeah, so I showed you that little welcome book, like the mock-up for that. So these last streams we've been working on this book in InDesign. So let me actually go, I think it's Control W. Oh, that didn't work at all. Huh, that's funny. What I was trying to do is go to View, Screen Mode, Shift W, so that's what I wanted. So, yeah, it's kind of a welcome book as you get to the festival that breaks down everything that's in the festival and what's going on. So the pages that we kind of worked on, the past 2 streams that we're going to dive into today. So we had the first initial page that has like the About section with the sponsors. So the squares or the rectangles are for sponsor logos, which we can add today. A little bit beyond the festival, so I included some photography that I took, but I want to replace those with more appropriate photos. Commemorative posters. So this is where they team up with a local artist who would submit their poster design, and they give them a huge highlight at the festival. We go into the actual like sponsors and the captains, as they call them. And the people, this is like more like a thank you section with a bunch of names. So that was one thing we worked on last time. Then we actually will have the schedule of the days. So this is where you'd have what bands are playing at what times and the stages. And that needs to be more of like an informative way. Well, it also needs to be like more of like a visual way, but still like communicate everything as clearly as possible. And then the big thing we worked on last stream was the map, which I kind of like where we've gotten with this so far. So this is the map of the actual grounds of the festival, and yeah, I don't know, I think I like kind of how it came together. And so this is going to be one of the pages we're working on right now. So this page is going to be the Kids Fest. So this is where we break down all the kid-friendly stuff that's happening inside the festival. We go down, we got some merch, and we have the food and drinks section down here as well. And this is where we have recycling and the stats from the past year's recycling initiatives. So I have these pages sketched out, and so those are the main ones we're going to work on. And the sponsor page, well, the way they've done it in the past is literally just showing all the logos for all the different sponsors. So that one won't take very long to do as well. And then the back cover. So it would be pretty dope if we can kind of knock this out today. Yeah, so a little bit ago I sketched these things out on a piece of paper, and I went into Adobe Capture and then took a photo of it to where it vectorizes it and saves it into my library as an SVG. And I believe this is the one I want. So let me bring down the scale a lot. Make sure I have it selected. There we go. Let me bring down the scale like a whole lot. Cool, and I'm just going to have this little sketch over here. Kind of like what I do with like wireframes for UI design. I like to just kind of do that with these little booklets as well, just so I know clearly what I'm kind of going into. But you can see like how sketchy that sketch is. You know, it's nothing good, but it kind of just helps me remember what I was going to do. And then let me jump over and add this one in here, and I'll do the same thing. And these are just more, usually I don't even bring these in. Well, a lot of times I don't really bring these in, like digitally, but, you know, I figured this would be a good way to actually show all the people viewing the stream as well, like what my really sketchy wireframes kind of look like. And then this one is the final one. And then I'm just going to go ahead and save it, because I usually save things like 1,000,000 times. Cool, so the first one, I'm thinking we can finish up this map really fast, and then we can jump over to the kids page. So you may see me jump around between InDesign and Illustrator a lot, and so if you get confused about which one I'm in, just always look up in this top left corner and you kind of see the icon. Because in Illustrator is where I actually go and create a lot of my assets that I'm working with, if they're like complex, like this map. Or like the schedule, if there's like individual things like that. Usually I design them in Illustrator and then bring them in separately. So yeah, just something to keep in mind there. And also what's great, since I attended this festival the past 2 years, I also have their welcome books that I've been referencing. So I know the stuff that like we must have inside this, and that's what we're kind of doing. So what I'm kind of looking at right now is the map for like the past years, and they have this little key over here on the side, so that's what I'm kind of reference when we make these little indicators over here of what each of these circles are. So I'm back in Illustrator for a second, and I want to make sure I have all the shapes in here that I have, or that I need, because I know when I was looking into this, there's at least one more that I do want to make. So hold down Alt just to copy that. I'm just going to ungroup. I'm going to delete that. And then I'm just going to use text. And I'm just going to do a capital M. And let's just make that white. Let me make sure my library is on the right one. Sweet. And then, since it's been a minute, let's go ahead and double check what the typeface is. I'm pretty sure it's Gothic LT, Trade Gothic Next LT Pro. So I want to make sure I do that with this icon as well. And something to keep in mind when I'm making this icon is I want it to really, be similar to these. So I'm thinking the thickness of this M should maybe reflect, maybe like of this symbol right here. So if I can find something that kind of works with that, I think it'd be good. Like this one works. And then just highlight them both and go to the line tool just to make sure they're perfect, and then Command G to group it. So that was one I didn't have before, and this is for merch. So we'll make sure when we do have the answer key over here on the side that we write merch, and then I'll hold Alt and kind of just copy it right over here. If anyone's just tuning in and you have any questions or anything, be sure to just throw them out. Because today I'm really going to be just focusing on just trying to knock this whole booklet out with all the individual assets. So if I don't get any questions, then I'll just keep kind of talking out loud or thinking out loud as I work on this. Also, let me know if you find any typos. I can check that at the end, but sometimes it just happens. So I'm going to minimize that, and back in InDesign, I'm just going to paste that right there. And let's just bring this in line with those. And I'm thinking I actually want to mess with the labels for the text in here. Oh, Jack's saying, like the flags used for the gates. Oh, you like the flags. Oh, sorry, I was thinking there's like a first half of the sentence I missed. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I figured it would be appropriate since this is kind of like a pirate-themed festival. Like, maybe I should incorporate more flags in there. Because I am kind of using a flag, which you maybe can tell right there kind of, for like the main logo mark. You know, I'm turning like the F for like festival into a flag. It's kind of like the thing behind it. But I think, yeah, it's a great idea to actually incorporate these flags more in there. And so, that's a good point too, because I really want to get heavy into the pirate theme, but not get too heavy to where it feels like ridiculous or like not cool. But thank you, Jack. And I'm thinking I'm just going to add this transparent box behind here just to make sure that this is as visible as possible. Because I do think that everything on here is important. I'm thinking I might just add a little more text down here at the bottom that just kind of says this is the festival map. So nothing too crazy. If you're just getting into, you can kind of see a glimpse at some of the other pages in this book. Right there, we were just working on the map. I'm kind of jumping back over to the front page right now, so I can copy that piece. And let's jump back down to this map we're working on. And if you're tuning in and you have any questions or anything, just let me know. If not, though, I'm really just kind of focusing on this. Let's kind of see how much progress I can make today. So I copied it and then go to edit, paste in place. And I'm going to highlight that top one, go to here, select that, click there, make sure I have the top one selected, use a bracket to send it behind it, and then use the arrows just to bring it slightly over. Just a little bit though, just so I kind of get that. There's probably better ways to do it, but I don't know, that's just the way I prefer. And then I'm just going to group it together. So let's view it for a minute. Okay. So one of the things I worry about is having the text where this crease is. Maybe if I shift the whole map over, I can have the crease go kind of like right in here where there's not like really as much text. So then I lose the chance of like anything happening whenever they print and staple it. And then I also want to fix how those are lined up. So I'm going to do that next. And that's kind of how this process goes. It's just more like doing a little bit, kind of zooming out, looking at the big picture, and then going back in and making those changes. At least that's how I do it. And then Command G to group it. And then File, Save. Sweet. Okay, so this is getting pretty good. I think I'm going to jump over to the next page, though, so we can have some fun. So next one is the Kids Fest. So I'll kind of show you what they did in the past years real fast. Yeah, and bring it over here. Let me switch sources for a second so you guys can see me pretty well. So this was the one from 2019. You can see that the Kids Fest, it more has like the artist with a bunch of text, and it's a bunch of logos everywhere, and you know, some information about like where it's at. There's free admission, but nothing that's really like, if a kid looks at this, other than like it visually maybe being appealing, there's like nothing else to it. And then the same thing with the booklet from the year 2020. In fact, I don't like this one as much as the other one. So this one, it says what's going on Saturday and Sunday. You have like the times. You have like some artists with their photos. But it says Kids Fest, and another thing it says it's free for kids 12 and under. So they really want to, you can see that they're really trying to push the acts that they're having, and that it's free for certain kids. So that's the stuff I want to try to communicate, but I also want to kind of take it to the next level and try to make it more fun for kids as well. If it's like a pirate fest, you know, they're there. If they open the book, you know, you want it to be cool. So actually, I don't need to look right there because I have this little sketch I made. Yeah, so I figured it would be the same thing. Like we got the big title that says Kids Fest. We'll have the date with the acts that are happening. We'll have the date with the acts that are happening. Right here, we'll have like the main information for like the times that are happening, and then Here, you can also see it's another version of the map. So I was thinking, what if there's something fun? Instead of having like those graphics of the random artists, we could use graphics of like, you know, a treasure map almost. And then maybe it leads them to a table where, you know, there's someone passing out beads or something fun like that. So I just want to try to like take what they were doing and try to just raise the bar and like have it towards like more interactive for kids too. But yeah, I keep drinking this coffee so I can, you know, stay in the zone. But something I do want to go back and change on these would be the titles, kind of like the way I'm doing the headers. So you see this typeface, this font for Gasparilla, that's like the main logo one. But I don't really want to use it in other places because I don't use that in other, like, I don't use that in the brand in other ways too. Where I kind of use this as like the sub-header in ways. So when I have these ones where I'm writing Music Festival or like Beyond the Festival in this typeface, I want to change that to this one. So at least that's my mindset right now. Just so that way I'm only using that for like the word mark, or maybe I combine it with like the logo somehow. So I'm just gonna bring one of those off to the side. Oop, let me go lock that. And cool, I just want to make sure I have those words grouped together. So this one right here, you can see it says Gasparilla Music Festival. Let's go ahead and just delete that. Let's bring the photo down. And let's go into our libraries. Because I think there's actually like a form of the logo that will work better. Which is this. It's just the word mark with the word Music Festival below it. But I think that's more on brand for what we're trying to do. Actually, let me not scale it that way. Let me just drop it in here where the corner is. And then let me hold shift and just kind of bring that down. And then do it like this as well. So I'm going to have to bring in these edges. Yeah, because that goes in right there. And let me bring it in a little off that edge too. So I'll match it over there. And then let me bring in this. Boom. Okay, and then maybe bring it all up. Still bring it down a little bit more. Let me go to display performance and make it highest quality. This isn't really working exactly like I wanted it to, but maybe I can play with the scale and it'll work. Let's center align it. And then we bring this photo up. And I'm mostly just bringing all these down a little bit because I want to give this photo like at least enough room to feel like, you know, it's showing what it needs to show. If you're liking the music too, you can check out the artist who created it. Down with the link below is by my buddy Seth Lynn. He's a very talented artist, so you know you can show him some love. And these little boxes, I think I have these logos in my files, so it might be about time to just go ahead and drop, you know, those things in there. I'm just creating a frame. Let me hold down Shift and Alt, so it copies it and it keeps it kind of level. Let me click on that one, let's go File, and then Place, and let's see if I can find those sponsor logos. Okay, so as you can see, this festival has like a ton of logos, and there's like a whole spread that's just dedicated, it's just like a grid layout for these. But we're not doing that, we're looking for specific ones. Because this section is for the events that are specific to the Gasparilla Music Festival. Or like the Gasparilla like series of events. So it's like the music festival, like the fine arts festival, and the film festival, which I know have those logos. Okay, so one of them is at least going to be, you know, the one we're making. because this would be like the one for the music festival. Let's bring that scale down. Let's try maybe 35%. It goes close. Sorry, I'm just trying to bring this in. Cool. Let's do that. Let's bring it down like maybe 60%. Go. Let's bring that up. Let's bring these frames up as well. And yeah, where do I find those? Give me just a second. Maybe I can find over here. Okay, just a minute. Okay, found one of the logos I need. Let's go ahead and save that. Okay, it's a JPEG, so that's going to be kind of annoying with that background. But a lot of times when you're messing with other people's, or you have sponsors and you get a bunch of logos, you don't really have too much of a say in it. And then this one's a PNG, so that's perfect. So I have both of those saved. You can't see that, but now you're going to be able to see me just drop them in. So I figured for this I might as well just keep them in my downloads folder for right now. And I can save them later. Whenever like I package this whole file. Cool, so I got these. Now let's just go ahead and scale it down. Here we go. I'm just kind of bringing this down here a little bit. Just to kind of try to get this logo to at least feel a little real. Okay, so I think that does already look a lot better than just having those little boxes there. I'm just going to go and file and save. Just got to always do that a billion times. Let me check on the quality of the stream over here, which still should be good. Sweet. Okay, so now let's go in and change this typeface. Go and add that. Let's see where it went. Okay, so it's right in there. Now I've got this, and I should just be able to click this. Yep, it worked. Just whenever I typed these, wasn't all caps first time. Beyond the Festival. Maybe it'd be cool to have like the subheaders down here. I may do that. I'm gonna try it. So why not? You know, we can have some fun experiment with it. Plus, this is for like a festival too, so you know, it could be a little different. Go Beyond the Festival. So we're running into the page number here too a little bit. Let me copy and then go edit, paste in place. So it should be right over top of that. Let me select the top layer. Let me change it to that color. Let me use a bracket to send it behind that one, and then the arrow keys just kind of shift it over a little bit. Make sure I got both of them selected, and then go Command G. And then, yeah, I just got to play with this layout. See, it feels a little weird to me having this down here. That's where we just kind of, play around with the layout and see if any ideas come up. Let me just make that into a crazy color, just so I know that I need to delete it. And I just want to make sure that, that's the same distance from this. And sometimes I do that roughly just by making a shape. And then kind of make the guideline, bring that in there. And then just kind of adjust all of that accordingly. Okay. Just running into some problems with the text, but we can fix that. And the other thing I want to figure out too is, okay, so this one I'm going all the way to this line. Okay, the reason why this keeps going to a separate line is because I have a certain paragraph style on it, and I want it to where it balances ragged lines and where we don't have hyphenations. So that's how it's adjusting it there. But I'm not the biggest fan of it. But I think this does work. I'm just gonna go ahead and save it, and then we can adjust the the headers on the other slides. Because really, I always want to just kind of do this a little quickly, and then jump over to designing like the rest of the pages. I'm just gonna group those together. And the poster design we don't need to worry about because that's something that will be designed by different local artists. Okay, let me do that. Nope. Let me select over here. So if you don't actually use your CC libraries, you definitely should consider it because it makes everything like a million times easier. Just actually having like certain styles and assets saved over there. Actually move this up. And then also when you go between different programs, it makes it like very easy because you can just save assets. So I'll make sure I spell this right. Cool. It's a little long. And maybe this one just has a little smaller size. I really need to kind of be like right in there. Yep, that can work. I think this is the first one we have like with 2 lines for this. What is this you're designing? Hey, Bron. Thanks for asking. Yeah, so let me take a step back and then kind of zoom out. So we're working on a booklet in InDesign, and it's a booklet guide for a music festival. So every time I don't know if you've seen music festivals for the most part, they usually come with like little booklets that tell them with a map of the event, the schedule, all that fun stuff. So that's what we are working on. You can see the cover. This one's for sponsors and welcome. We have Beyond the Fest. This is for people to upload where an artist has their poster design. That's like the one for that year. We have where we list all the sponsors and captains, the schedule for like the actual event. The map is what we worked on a lot last stream, and we're kind of finishing up. We're about to do the Kids Fest, so you can see I have like a sketch right there of what that's going to be like. We're also about to work on the recycling and stats page as well. So you can see I have my sketches over here, which I brought in using Adobe Capture. The sponsors page, and this is literally just going to be a bunch of different logos in the back cover. And the reason why I'm doing this is because it's part of a bigger case study I have on my portfolio, on my Behance page, which we can dive into here. So you can see my Behance page right here. Gasparilla Music Festival. So this was like branding I created for this festival as like a project. Oh, wow, thanks. I see. Yeah, no problem. And if anyone else has any questions, too, please ask. So if you want to see the whole branding for this, you can jump over to my page and check it out. I have the challenge and solution, but I talk about the logo system and why I did it. The symbols, combining multiple elements to create something new. And then all these different assets. So the reason why I'm creating the welcome book is because initially I had this cover. And I thought, what would be, it'd be really cool if I could show my InDesign skills through a live stream video, while also, creating, a bigger part to this overall case study. Because my goal is to right here have like a nice, different mock-up, but then actually have the book be interactive here, so people can click through it and see that I didn't just create the cover, I created the entire booklet and I thought about, all aspects of it. But yeah, so this is a pirate-themed music festival, which is what we're kind of building the booklet for. And this is where I built the website, also in XD. Yeah. But no, I appreciate the questions. Let me know too if anyone else has any questions. You drop it in and you're like, what is going on? What is that program? I'm in Bangladesh. That's awesome. No, I appreciate you tuning in. It's really cool. I'm from Florida. So that's where like the pirate and the water and I guess the flower shirt probably come from. But no, I appreciate you tuning in. Yes, let me kind of jump back to where I was for the most part. So we had the cover. We're just working on finalizing some of these little pages, like refining them, and then we're going to go and design the rest of it. But there really is no need to apologize at all. The questions kind of help me figure out what I should be talking about. Because if not, too, sometimes I start thinking out loud and start rambling on, like I'm doing right now. Or if not, it might just be a long silence of looking at my files or watching me design, which I don't mind. I'm curious too what time it is over in Bangladesh, because I know that's kind of far away, which it actually be somewhere over here. It's kind of fun. I usually don't have a map behind me. Where is it? Oh, I'm spending too much time looking at the map. Yeah, I'm sorry, I was trying to find Bangladesh. Let me just kind of keep rocking and rolling for now. And for these, I can probably, instead of bringing in over everything else, so actually, no, I should do that. Let me go paste. So you can see I have this text. Let me just change that to Higher Ground 2021. If you're just tuning in too, I guess it could be a fun game. Let me know if you see your home on the map behind me. It's a giant tapestry. It's actually one of my friends who is living over in China right now, and so she couldn't bring everything with her, so she's let me borrow this awesome map, and I love it. Like for me, I'm right there. That little peninsula. And then I created these sections last stream, and they really are just random names, but normally you can... Are you searching me? Yeah, I was looking for where you were, but I was spending too much time. I wish I could jump over to it really fast. But yeah. Let me just kind of bring this down to where it looks like it's sitting on those waves. Copy, go edit, paste in place. Let me highlight the top one, select that, go use a bracket, send it back, and then boom, hold down shift and select select them both and group it. And then maybe this can also just work about being on top. I kind of like the way that text works together. Let me scale it up like a little bit so hopefully it goes right to those edges. Let me go like a 9.5 maybe? Maybe even less than that. That's crazy, those little details. Yep. So maybe like a 9.25. Yeah, I think that gets... Maybe goes a little over, but I think it's really close to the edges right there. So that works kind of well together. I'm just going to keep saving it as I go. And drink a little more coffee. And And then it looks like I actually have extra name or extra space right here for these names, which is great. So I'll go and bring these down just so it looks like there's more sponsors. Because I guess it would be good to fit as many names as possible, but I am short like 2 or 3 names, so I'm just going to go and type in names in here that I see as well. So Jack, you're joining the, you're going to be a grassroots sponsor of this festival now, because I need some extra names. Barun Sarker, you're going to be one of the attendees, and then I'll go ahead and just add, you know, someone that maybe a lot of y'all might know. Go file, save that as well. But yeah, I like what's going on right there. So I'm thinking maybe I can swap these sections so that way this can be down there and all this can be brought up. Let me go down here, drop that in there. Let me just bring this section off to the side for now. Actually, I'm going to group that just so nothing crazy happens. Select all of these, and I'm going to go Command G and group it, and then hold down Shift and just bring it all up. Bring it level with that. Let me try to do this. Actually, I don't need to do that. I'll bring it off to the side. Let me bring this over. Let me go Object, Ungroup, delete that top one. Let's just copy this so we know we're taking that text exactly. And let me go Edit, Paste without formatting, so it just gives me the text itself. Let me go here, click the white version, let me go to Properties, and let me bring it down like just a little bit. Let me copy that, and then go Edit, Paste in place. Nope. Let me try to again copy that, edit, and then paste in place. So it should be right over top of that. Let me highlight it, go over here, click that, use the brackets to send it back, and then use that to kind of bring it over. And then I'm going to group it. And then hopefully I can bring this section in. Boom. I'm going to kind of delete some of this stuff, and then I think I'm going to need a little like just divide of some sort in here. Which I don't like at all how that looks. Here we go. Let me just delete that for a second. Shift over. Let me double check this over here. Make sure the stream is still good. If you see me looking off to the right side, that's exactly because my stream setup is over here. Let me just make sure it's still good at the moment. And it looks like we are still good. And yeah, if you're just joining me too, we're working on a booklet for Music Festival, for the Gasparilla Music Festival, so it's like a pirate-themed one. You can kind of see we have the cover. And keep in mind when I'm scrolling, sometimes it does it in the lowest quality just to help with speed. We have like the opening page where it talks about the other Gasparilla events, and yeah, general info. We talk about what else this nonprofit that runs the festival does. We have the posters. We have about the artist. We have the support, which is what we were kind of just tidying up right now. The schedule for the actual festival. Maybe we can actually go and add some text. The map. We have the map we built last stream, and with an index, and kind of tells us a little bit about the festival, like where everything is. The Kids Fest we're going to knock out today, which I think we can do pretty quickly. The merch and food section, it would be cool to do that as well. And then we have sponsors, which is kind of just basically be like all the different logos. And the back cover. So honestly, I think we can do a pretty good job knocking this out today. Hopefully. If we're ambitious and do it right the first time. Maybe tomorrow we'll tweak up the design, but it also would be cool to actually make our own mock-ups. Because as you can tell with some of these photos, these are the ones that I took, and my goal is to kind of go in and make my banners look like they're over top of these. So, yeah, it's ambitious, but I think we can figure out how to do it. So let me go back down here where I was working. And I just want to figure out a good way to divide, break this up. If anyone has any questions or suggestions or anything too, please let me know. Because if not, I'm just going to kind of keep going what I'm doing, but it's always cool to get some feedback from the people around and see what you guys think. Don't really like that divider, but I'm just going to leave that for right now. Yeah, let me go ahead and go to the Kids Fest. Sorry, I was kind of saying for a second. I was just kind of thinking. But yeah, let's go ahead and drop some of the text here. So you can see from this very pretty drawing right here, this is what we're gonna kind of be doing. So maybe I still have, yep, I still have that copied, and we're just gonna type in Kids Fest. And let's make it bigger. I think this should have that as well. I wonder if it does in their versions. It doesn't. But like the kids like own this fest, so it should be like possessive, I think. Hey Colby, I'm glad to be here. Oh yeah, it's good to see you too. It's good to see you again, Guttier. GG if I remember. Nice. So yeah, this is kind of continuing what we were working on last stream. Which to kind of go up really fast, you can kind of see the map where we kind of ended with. I did a little bit of changes to it, but that's kind of where we ended it last stream, because I really just dove heavy into that. Just a second, let me look at that. Sweet. So yeah, let's just try to bring this kids page to life. Let me just copy it. Let's go edit, paste in place, highlight the top version. And if anyone has any questions, too, let me know. I know I keep saying that, but you know, if not, no worries. I'm just gonna group that for now. Actually, let's keep a copy of that, just for fun. Go and let's bring in some of that text. But I think my best bet is using some text I have up here and just copy and pasting it, just so that way I make sure I'm kind of doing some of the same, like I'm using the typography in the same way. So let's just bring all of that for a moment, just kind of see what that looks like. Yeah, let me delete that. Nope. Let me go to object. I guess it's not grouped. Yeah, I just want to delete this top one. And I think this right here is going to be very nice for that text. And let me just double check the date, because I think it was like the 7th. So it's 6th and 7th are the dates I'm going for the year 2021. I'm just kind of doing it on this side for a second, just so I can see this pretty clearly. I think I want to keep all this text white, so let me just click that. Nope. Here we go. And let's remember what it said. I have my festival book from last year, so I kind of want to just use like the same lineup, because I imagine they'll at least have this, if not more. So let's go ahead and click enter. Let's just type in some of the text that they're using, which was I'm gonna write the dates and time exactly like they're doing it. So that's probably the safest bet. Store stage. Cool. And then I'm just gonna copy and paste that 3 times, just so I don't have to keep messing with like the different like styles. But now I can just type it in over top of that. And I did not pick these titles. These are the ones that they had from this past year, but it works. I guess both of those are the same time. It's weird. Go and okay, and then I can just start playing with how these will work together. So let me go ahead and let me do that with that, and then let's bring it to the left, and then I'll bring it slightly up, and let's just select both and maybe just bring this over. And And then with my sketch, so originally I had the title at the top, but I think I was putting it at the bottom. So maybe I put this text at the very top. I think that would actually be the better bet. So let me group that together. Actually, let me not group that together yet. Let me copy this and just type in Kids Zone. Go Saturday and Sunday, and it says 11:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. which I'm gonna want to play with that, so it's a little more fun. But let me just kind of bring this stuff up over here. And also, I'm not sure what the solution is, but that's part of the challenge here, is just kind of figuring this out as I go. Because that's how I really design. And then maybe this should be heavy, maybe it should be much bigger. Here we go, so that way it kind of like has its own little lockup for itself. I can just bring that over. Let me go ahead and hold Alt and copy this, because I might as well use the same one for when I'm making info for Sunday. And I'm just going to bring this down for now. Let me zoom out, kind of on this page, so you can tell it doesn't look good yet, but it will. Hopefully. Sunday. Go March 7th. And if anyone has any questions about InDesign or Illustrator or anything, let me know. I'll do my best to try to answer them. Or any of them. Honestly, I use almost all of the Adobe programs, so if there's really anything that you guys do want to see too, let me know with that. Because I've been trying to really experiment with different software. Because I do a lot of projects in Illustrator and in XD and stuff like that. But I figured there's a lot of opportunity right now with the live streams to really get outside the box and start using different programs that I don't get to showcase as much. So if you have any ideas, I was thinking more Adobe Dimension. I was also thinking like Character Animator, maybe going from Adobe Illustrator into Character Animator and how to make your own like puppet that way. 'Cause that could be fun. But if you guys have any ideas, just let me know. And I really wish I just had this thread copy and pasted. Hello, hey Timider, how are you? I'm good, how are you doing? It's good to have you in the chat. If you're confused about what's going on right now, let me know. I can kind of give a quick recap again and just kind of show what the project is. But if not, no worries. Also, let me know how you're doing, where you're tuning in from. I do have this big giant map behind me today, so maybe you can see yourself somewhere like super tiny. If anything, I'm right there, Florida. A lot of people have different thoughts about Florida, but oh well, it's fun. What is your best tip for InDesign? Ooh, yeah, thank you, Martin. Hi from Holland. Oh, great. No, it's awesome to have you here. So my best tip for InDesign, yeah, So it would probably be some of the stuff I showed in part 1 for this video, because part 1 was where I was showing kind of a lot of mechanics in InDesign, whereas now I'm kind of getting more into the details of designing. One of the biggest things I would say would be like to work with master pages. So whenever you get over here, you can see there's category pages. At the very top, you have stuff called master pages. So rather than having this background on every single individual page and like adjusting each page number individually, if you double click on these, you can do this, and this allows you, anything you do here applies to all those pages unless you override it. So so this is with the background. Hi from Australia. Oh, that's so cool. Hey, thanks for joining, Nicholas. I guess you're not really pictured in the map, but I do see it kind of over there on that side. My biggest tip though would be like with page numbers, for example. When I first started out with InDesign, I didn't know how to do those actual page numbers, so then I would go to each individual page and I would click and copy and paste them. They might shift over time, and then if I rearrange the pages over here, then it was a nightmare making sure they actually worked. So my biggest tip would be to use these master pages on the top, design some elements here, like the background and page numbers, and then it gets applied to all these. And then you end up, you can go and bring in text in here, and then if you just highlight any text, you can go right click on it and then insert special character. We're going to go markers and then change it to current page number. So that's really awesome. So right now this looks like an A, but that means any page we click on, it's going to be the actual page number. You can see 3, 3. And if I start to rearrange these pages, then the page numbers are still going to stay in the same spot. So that changed my world whenever I found that out. But yeah, that would probably be my best tip for InDesign, would be to use master pages, and if you're going to do anything with page numbers, do it all on that master page. And you're saying, cool, I didn't know that. No, that's awesome. If I think of any other tips off the top of my head, I'll definitely jump into those. But no, I appreciate the question. If you guys have any other questions, let me know. So it kind of helps break up, all the, just the designing. But let me go back down here. I was starting to mess with the kids zone, or kids fest. I don't know which one to call it. The kids zone is like the whole general area. And maybe there should be like some type of box or something on this. Well, I have that still selected. I'm just going to hold down I and just kind of take the elements from that. Well, that didn't work. Let me just have this selected. And honestly, I have like a really rough sketch of what I want this page to look like. But I already kind of went away from the sketch. Well, let me go to Object, Arrange, Send to Back. Oh, it's because this text is white. But I got to go click that, go to Properties. Let's bring down that a little bit, which I don't like this at all. So I'm going to delete that. As you can tell, so a lot of stuff I'm just figuring this out. Oh, and Nicholas asked, did you create all that? I did. Yeah, so let me kind of zoom out just a little bit. And I'm going to minimize that, and let me bring up this. So as like a project I did recently, so this is my Behance page, which you guys can find as well. The Gasparilla Music Festival visual identity. So this was like the branding that I created for this festival. So this is, yes, it's a real festival. No, the branding hasn't been used yet. My goal is to try to get this festival to hire me, and I wanted to create festivals anyways. So I figured I'm going to target towards this one and create everything I can for this festival, since it's one here in my hometown. So this is the logo, like the word mark I kind of created. If you go to the Behance page, you can see the challenge and solution, as well as the logo system. And this is something I still want to improve on. I want to improve on these waves, as well as this little GMF right here with the flag, because I really want it to feel more gritty and rough and pirate-y, because it's a pirate festival. So yeah, so I have the symbols that I start to use, where you combine different elements like a hook and a treble clef, or like, I think it's an eighth note, and then a flag. And then it goes into different typography and colors. And so in this case study, I had originally just like the cover of what the adventure guide might look like. And so you can see these other mock-ups I kind of created as well. But my goal here, what I'm doing, is creating the entire welcome book. So that way, whenever someone's looking at this case study, it's not just the mock-ups of it. They can go through and have the interactive booklet. So yeah, if you check out the streams for like the previous streams, I have those as well. And I'm sorry, Andrew, too. I don't know how to speak that language, too, so I apologize. Don't really know what you're saying at the moment. A good thing to do is you can jump into Google Translate and bring it over to English if you want to just kind of copy and paste it. I would normally do that, but it's kind of tough whenever I'm live streaming, though. But I do appreciate, having activity, but I just wish I knew what you're saying. But to dive back into Nicholas's question, yeah, so I created this this entire booklet. You can find the videos of that on my Behance page as well. So yeah, I have the cover, and then I have the inside, or like the sponsor and the welcome. We dive into Beyond the Fest. Sorry, this is my first stream. Yeah, no worries at all. And I appreciate it. It's kind of cool having you join me now, because you can give me any feedback too, because it's a fresh pair of eyes, which is dope. Because I always need that. Sometimes I get burnt out looking at the same thing for too long. But yeah, this is where the poster would go. Let me bring this in a little bit. So yeah, this is Beyond the Festival. So this is where the nonprofit talks about all the stuff it does. We have the poster design. This is the where like the supporters and sponsors, they list everyone. Hi Donna, thanks for tuning in. It's good to see you. Welcome. Yeah, so we're talking about this music festival right now and the branding. Oop, didn't mean to click that button. Let me just make sure I turn that off so it doesn't affect anything crazy. Let me bring that down. Cool. And so I was going over the booklet just to catch people up. We have the actual schedule from the music festival. Then we go into the map from the festival, which we worked on last stream. And this was a lot of fun to do. Right now, as you can tell, we're working on the kids zone. So we're going to kind of figure out how that elements work. And then we need to do the food and merch. And then the recycling. And yeah, so we still got actually a good amount to do. So I should dive back into this. So let me group these together so they don't accidentally shift somehow. And let me figure out how I'm going to actually do this. Because for y'all just joining too, I have a really rough pencil sketch that I did right before the stream. And I used Adobe Capture to bring it in and make like an SVG, like a vector, you know, asset that came in through my CC library. And I just had to drag it in here. So that makes it super easy to work with. But yeah, you can see I kind of repeat the map. So what I'm thinking right here is maybe we make it more of like a pirate map, search for treasure, and it has less, so it's less like informative and more like fun. So that could go up in this section like up here is what I'm thinking. Which I'm going to leave that there for a moment. And in the meantime I can kind of figure out what I'm going to do with the rest of that. Ooh, see, I always click the wrong buttons. That's because I always go and just click save. See, I did it twice in a row. Okay. What I'm trying to do is click file and then the save, not that little home button. So I'm going to minimize that, and I'm going to jump into Adobe Illustrator. So something I mentioned earlier too is if you get confused about what program I'm in, you can see this little icon in the top left, and it's just as like a reminder. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go and create a new one. Just a second. So I want 8.5 by 5.5. Actually, what I can do is I'm just going to work in the same layer, because I think that would be cool. So I have artboard tool selected. Let me get where the name is, hold down Alt, and then drag it off to the side. And yes, I want to take any hidden elements. Cool, and then I just kind of had these over here, because in the booklet itself, why you use InDesign and not other apps such as Photoshop? Yeah, no, good question, Nicholas. So it really depends on what I'm doing. To be honest, I use like all the Adobe programs, but they all kind of have strengths. You know, like a lot of them can do the same stuff. Like I know you can mess with photos in Illustrator. You can, you know, there's some like vector stuff or animations in Photoshop. You know, there's ways where they all kind of like, you know, go back and forth and have like similar overlap. But I really try to use each program for like what they're meant for, you know. And so InDesign is really great for booklets, for very like print stuff, because it's really does a great job laying out different pages. Where Illustrator is really good with like illustrations and vector assets. So that's why I'm kind of like focusing on these programs right now rather than like Photoshop. That's a good question though, because you're gonna look at stuff that I'm doing, you're gonna be like, oh, I can totally do that in Photoshop. But I don't know. Sometimes too, it's like what you prefer. And now what I'm doing here, since I copied this map, let me double check I copied it before I delete everything in it. Yeah, so I have a copy over there on the left side, and I'm just gonna bring it down to just the bare bones. You know, like get rid of all the text, and so that way we make it like a little more fun, and a little more of like a scavenger hunt type vibe. Go. If you're digging the music too, you can find the link down below. It's from one of my really good buddies, Seth Lynn. He's a very talented artist, so you should show him some love, you know, if you like it. If not, no worries. So yeah, I'm just kind of getting rid of as many elements as I can right now. And so make sure that one's in the back layer. I'm just gonna go and lock that, just to make my life a little easier. And then I want this top one, and let's try to expand the stroke. And I'm thinking maybe this, yeah, this version has like, you know, thicker lines. That's why it's like much more simple. I'm just gonna select all of these shapes. If you guys have any better ideas too, let me know, please. Because with some of these pages, you know, like, this is designed how I normally design, where I don't always know where it's gonna go. Which is fun. You know, adds a little bit of spice to it. So, let me think for a second. Maybe I can swap it that way. See, I should have grouped all these as well, just to make my life a little easier. Take off the stroke that's around them. I'm just kind of get up here and mess with some of these details, because I kind of have an idea for this. So we shall see how it works out. Whew. Oh, and Jack's back. She's saying, "Hey everyone, I'm back. Was outside in the sun with my doggos." Nice. How's the weather for you today? Because I'm pretty sure it's Ohio, if I remember correctly. And you were saying there was rain or there's snow or something, which is like insane to me. Because here in Florida, that's like unheard of. And I think what I want to do is go to Object, and then expand all this. So that makes all the strokes like individual shapes. Ooh, but then right when I do that, I notice stuff. Like this doesn't feel level. Oh, Tunk. Hey, it's good to see you. And Jack as well is saying hi. I appreciate it, Jack. But yeah, Tunk, it's good to see you. I know I've seen a lot of your work lately for the creative challenges. But no, I appreciate you tuning in. Oh, I think this line isn't level, so that's what I'm running into. I'm just gonna do that. So yeah, a little bit what I'm doing right here. How did you get so many project views? Are you talking about for the Gasparilla one? I think it really just depends. Whenever you're designing stuff and posting on Behance, you really want to make sure you use like good tags. That's stuff that's like people are gonna search. That's like appropriate, or that makes sense. So that's something I would recommend. It's also good to have like a really good thumbnail, so people want to like see more of it. So that was stuff I would recommend. It's also great to just connect with people on Behance, you know, because once they connect with you, they kind of want to see some of your work. You know, you may see some of theirs, and you can really build like a relationship and start to, I don't know, get feedback from other designers, which is really cool. And Jack's saying, yes, Ohio, we had snow last week, sun today. Ohio is weird like that. That is really weird. That's awesome. I can't imagine snow, like, yeah, it would just be chaos here if it snowed even for like an hour. That'd be awesome. So I'm thinking I kind of want this to go from here. Let's just draw like a crazy map for right now. And let's think about it for a second. So a little bit about what I'm doing, because you guys may just be confused about what's going on. So I'm working on this spread right here, which is like the kids zone. And one of the things I want to add in here is almost like a hidden treasure map. So when kids are at this music festival, then they can kind of like follow the map, and it's like a little trickier than like the informative map. But once they find the location, it'll be like an X where the treasure is. Then maybe they can find like a table where someone's passing out beads, or I don't know. I just want to try to like take the pirate side of the festival, combine it with the kids zone, and help make more like fun games that can happen throughout it. So if you all have any ideas too, let me know. That's why I was working on like a much more simple version of the map I had before. But I'm just gonna go and delete that line I just made, because I kind of want it to be like a little crazy like I was doing. So if we go up here, let's do like a loop, Then we go up these stairs that are here, and then we'll go over here. So maybe it can be a little wild. Let's make that. Let's go and let's just change this to a red, which I think I have a red in my library. I have that one, which can work. And then we go up to window and then stroke. And this is what gives us the settings to mess with this line. So let's go ahead and bump it up a little more. Let's check this box and we make it a dashed line, because that feels a little more like a pirate map to me. And let's play with these numbers. I always forget which is which, so honestly I just type them in and see which one does what. So this is talking about like how thick the dashes are. So when I made the bigger number, it gets longer. Let's do like half, so we get more dashes going on there, which I think more is better. Maybe even like this. Maybe I bring in this line a little bit, because that's right where one of the entrances are. Let's smooth that out just a little bit, because I'm thinking I don't want it to really overlap. Oh, Jack's saying, haha, my grandparents used to live in Florida. Newport Richie, I have some friends down there still. Florida is a tropical rainforest compared to Ohio. So, yeah, I actually know Newport Richie very well. So, one of my best friends, his family lives there. And whenever I go stay with my sister, a lot of times, they're in Lutz, which is like 20-30 minutes south of Newport Richie. Like, I think they're in like the same like county. So that's really cool. Florida's like a tropical rainforest compared to Ohio. Yeah, it can be. Especially like when you get south and you start hitting like where the Everglades are, or like the Keys, Miami. If you start going to like the nature part of it, that's when it starts getting insane. Because then you run into stuff like kind of like pythons and alligators and I don't know, all that craziness. Maybe it's better to add contour where stairs end between two different floors. Oh yeah, that's a good idea. That would really help to communicate it, because a lot of it I was basing off of their map from past years, and they kind of did it where it was like this ladder shape. But yeah, that's a good idea. Thank you, Tom. Because I think that would help communicate it more. Because I had someone last stream even ask me about it, if it was different levels or what was going on there. That's a good idea. I'm gonna probably go back and do that. Thank you. Let's use the big one. Yeah, because even these would be pretty cool 3D. I'm just gonna go and save this. Okay, Nicholas is asking, hey, say if I was going to create a website on Adobe Muse, should I design the contents for the website on Photoshop or on another app? Which is a good question. To be honest, I don't know. Muse is probably one of the programs, like Adobe programs, that I know like the least about. Like, whenever I work in Adobe XD, that's what I do. I create a lot of the assets and everything in Illustrator or Photoshop, for example, and then I bring them in and kind of work and use that as like a design space rather than for like creating the assets. But I don't know for sure with Muse. I would assume so. At least that's probably how I'd do it, but it does vary depending on like who it is. Sweet. So I'm probably just gonna, let me just group it. Let me expand appearance. I just want to make sure that those are expanded. Here we go. So then, yeah, I just want to make it again, make sure it's still grouped. Cool. Let me just bring this in for now, and then we can go back and fix it a little bit. So I'm opening up InDesign again. I'm gonna delete that box, and I'm just gonna go place. Oh no, I just want to go Control V. And copy and paste it, and I see where the problem is, so I'm going to delete that. I'm going to jump back in here, And the thing is, I have stuff locked. So I want to go to Object, Unlock All, and now I want to, you know, copy it. So actually, I'm going to expand it first because now that, sweet, now those background shapes are expanded. So then let me copy and just go paste. Transform scale. Let me bring that down like 60%. We're gonna have this one be much smaller. It still doesn't feel piratey enough to me. We need more pirate elements. Well, thanks for sharing HMQ. No, that's awesome. I'm sure some people will check it out. Go. Let me scale some of this up. I'm just gonna make that huge because it's a kid's zone. We're like yelling it at this point. And yeah, let me just keep bringing everything up. Boom. And then maybe play with the leading and just bring that up. Let me add like a 0.5 to this. Nope. Let me add like a little bit so it reaches all the way to that edge. Go. And maybe I just bring this down actually, which I'm getting a little away from my initial sketch, but you know, like for this page, but that's how you figure stuff out. Oh, and Jack is saying, Nicholas, it looks like Adobe's ending support for Muse this year and recommending users check out Adobe XD or Spark as alternatives. Which I thought, I wasn't sure about that too, but I remember hearing that like Muse was kind of like dying off. But that's, yeah, that's awesome to give us a heads up, thank you, Jack. So yeah, Nicholas, keep that in mind. Adobe XD is really great, because it's, if you can use some of these other programs, you know, it's not very different from those. So I definitely recommend just experimenting with it, or participating in some of the XD daily creative challenges, because they can really teach you like how to use that program. You can also go and check out some of my previous videos where I'm breaking down how to work in XD. And Jack Watson, who's right there, also has a bunch of great Adobe XD videos too. So that could be a good chance to just experiment with new tools. Because if you already know Muse or Photoshop, then I think diving into XD should be, you know, pretty chill. And Martin's saying you could add a sword. A sword would be cool. That'd be really cool. So, which I'm going to bring this back up again for a moment. So this was my Behance page where I was breaking down the case study. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to create more symbols. And with the symbols, I really want them to try to be more than one thing combined. So with this one, I'm doing like, you know, fishing and like flags, like stuff associated kind of with pirates and combining it with music notes. So if there is a way to do that with like a sword and combining that with some type of music symbolism or something where it does more than one, I think that'd be really cool. So that's the goal. But it's tough to come up with more of these. Because one of the other ones I kind of have is like, you know, a little cannonball with a GMF on it. Oh, and Nicholas saying, I was told by my teacher to use Muse for the website, LOL, but I have no idea how to use it. Yeah, honestly, I think Muse is... honestly, yeah, Adobe XD is probably your better bet. Because Muse, I think, is a little more complicated, and it is kind of like fading out for the Adobe programs. But XD is one they're really pushing right now, so there's a lot of support. There's a lot of people, community to get involved with, to get feedback on. Which, let's look at the stream, and my video's over there on that side. Let me swap which side it's on. So that way you can kind of... Here we go, so that way you can see that full word. Sword can match with one of mute symbol. Match with one of mute symbol. What do you mean by mute symbol? I just want to, yeah, I'm curious what you mean. Because if there can be a way to make that work, like, I'm totally down. And then, yeah, I think that's good enough for right now. Sword can match with one of mute symbols. Oh, mute symbol. Oh, for like music. Oh, okay. Yeah, sorry, and the delay, just keep in mind too, the chat is delayed by like 30 seconds or so. You know, if not a little more today for some reason. But, actually, yeah, before I just start Googling on my stream, let me do it over here off to the side. I want to look up a mute symbol for music. Because that, I'm not sure what it looks like, but it could be cool. Oh, okay. So, yeah, that's a cool one. That's good advice, Tunk. Thank you. Let me bring this over in just a second. So I'm not sure if this is what you're talking about. Here's like a mute symbol in playing music theory, and you're talking about combining that with a sword. Oh, and we need Mal B in the chat today. That's what Jack's saying, because he's learning how to read music. That's the perfect type of person. Someone who's looking at all these symbols and maybe overwhelmed, but they can just, you know, tell us what works. But I do think that this could be a cool idea of making it into a sword. I can totally imagine that, and I'm going to write that down right now. Because I want a bunch of these, and yeah, pirate sword would be a fun element to add. Thank you for that, too. That's great advice. And initially I was looking at one of these and maybe like crossed out by a sword. But yeah, I appreciate it. Nicholas is saying, I'm going to go to sleep. It's 3 a.m. here in Australia. Bye, guys, and have fun. Well, thank you very much for tuning in, Nicholas. It's great to have you here. I appreciate the questions. Have fun in Australia. And so I'm saying, yeah, there are plenty of mute symbols according to their values. Oh, okay. So, yeah, that's a good one. Thank you. I'm probably going to end up doing that. Let me figure out how to make all of this work. So I go back to my sketch. Let's kind of see how I filled in those gaps. Which was really rough. How do they do it again? So I'm not exactly happy with this page, you know? It's like, it's very basic, and there's still like a lot of open space, and the layout isn't, it's just not there yet. So let's look at what they did and see if, you know, there's anything I can take away from that. So let me actually just show these again for everyone viewing. So here's the past years. Here's one of their pages. This is 2019. This is how they handled the Kids Fest, which is a lot more fun. They have more interactive elements. So I need to figure out how to do that. And then there's also this one from 2020, which, you know, it's got similar type styles, but they just have the images of the artists on the sides. And so I want to have like an interactive map with like a treasure hunt or something a little more fun. So I'm not sure exactly what the best solution is for that right now. But, you know, we have the base for this, and I think I'll circle back to this in a minute. Let's figure out how we're going to deal with this merch section. So I have a sketch I brought in here as well using Adobe Capture. Yeah, let me just make sure this doesn't overlap on us at all. So local drinks and merch, and then we have local eats and treats. I may actually put those down here. And then we have a photo with text, and then text. Cool. Let me go ahead and, actually, let's not use that one, because that one's kind of big compared to some of the other ones. Let me just copy that, and let's bring it down here. Let's edit, paste in place. And let's go object, ungroup. And if anyone's confused about what's going on, just, you know, ask me what's up, and we will, you know, touch base again and, you know, work on, or catch you up on what's going on. Because I know a lot of people do join kind of late, and you can't really rewatch it until the video uploads. So I don't mind taking a step back, you know, every once in a while. Which I should zoom out a little bit right here. And let's just bring this over, just so I know exactly what I'm doing. And everyone's tuning in, I can't even speak. If anyone's tuning in right now, let me know and just be like, yo, I just got here. And I'll be like, yo, that's dope. But let me know if there's any other programs that you guys want to see, you know, like me work on projects in. Right now, I figured I'd go to InDesign because I work a lot in Illustrator and XD. But if, yeah, there's some type of crazy program you guys are interested in, let me know. Maybe I can do a stream based on that. My goal right now is to really just experiment with and try to show projects in like all the different programs that I can, like the different Adobe ones, just to kind of show my overall design skills. Rather than continuously working in one program, I really want to just show how I can utilize all these different ones depending on the project. So if there's anything that you're like, oh, that'd be cool to see, just let me know, and we can possibly make it happen. I think it was 2 weeks ago I had a project over in Adobe Dimensions, so that was pretty fun. So it's something a little outside my box. If I can figure out how to hook up my phone to my stream, I think it'd be really cool to show going from Adobe Dimension into Adobe Aero, like their augmented reality app, and showing 3D objects in a real space. Because I've done that before for a project, but I think the hard part is just having my phone work on the stream as well, and switching back and forth between everything. But I do know it is doable. Make sure I got the right thing selected. Let me do that, send it behind that one. Let me bring it up and over, and then let me just make sure I have them highlighted and group them right there. Let me hit that, bring that over, and let's just save it again. Okay, let me look at my sketch. So I want to bring in like a nice header photo, and I think my best bet is maybe copying the one I've done up here, and so that way I know it starts in the exact same spot. You know, like in the top of the page, basically. And then go edit, and then paste in place, so it kind of drops it right here, which is nice. Let me go and just drop in a new photo. I think at the end we're going to go back and change all the photos in general, but you know, it's nice to break them up every once in a while. So whenever this festival happened, I actually attended, which was cool, and I got to go and take my own photos. So that's why I'm just dropping these ones in here. They're not really edited, but I figured they work for now. And then, yeah, let me glance over here. It's cool, so we got some text that bends. So that could be fun. So you can kind of see I use the pen tool to kind of create like a little line. Let's do that. Let's switch that so that way you can see the line. Let's go up here and let's type on a path. And so I should just be able to click that, and now I can type on that. And what I'm wanting to say is, cheers to Tampa's #1 export, which is crazy that our #1 export is Cigar City Brewing. But I guess that's pretty cool too. I mean, there are worse things. Nope, let me make sure I have this text selected. Let me kind of bump this up a little bit. And let's make this maybe regular. Let's change the color. Let's make it white. Oh, because I'm messing with the transparency of it. So I'll go up here, or the opacity, I mean. Let's bring that up. Let's also get rid of that. It just still feels a little weird. Oh, Jack is saying, are you on a Mac? Which I'm actually on like a PC, like a Windows computer right now. Which is saying you can get Reflector, I think. It's like $15. That's what I use to display the screen in OBS. I think you also do it via USB without a reflector. Interesting. Yeah, so right now I just have a PC and I have multiple windows. So I have a secondary monitor over here with OBS that I can see running. And then I have my iPad, which is just separate right now, which I use to kind of preview my stream and to comment. And to like, yeah, reply to people. And then I have my main computer right here. So everything I'm trying to show live, I usually just show on like this monitor, which is my main laptop screen. And then everything I'm trying to like hide, which is like my stream quality, all that stuff, I have over on my secondary monitor up here, which y'all can't see. So I'm curious. Yeah, it's pretty cool with the reflector. It is pretty cool seeing how other people do their stream setups. Oh, you're saying about like using a phone. Sorry, it takes me a second to click. Are you on a Mac? You can get Reflector. I think it's like $15, and that's what I use to display the screen in OBS. I think you can also do it via USB without Reflector. Interesting. I mean, all of our phones come with a USB, so I wonder if yeah, I wonder if that will still work with Windows. I bought an app on the App Store for my iPhone, which I wonder if this is what you're talking about. I just haven't used it yet. because I wanted to try to show like Adobe Capture as well, like maybe making patterns and stuff. Which I hate the way that looks. Yeah, Reflector lets you pull an iPhone or iPad screen. That's really good to know. Because I know I had some initial training with like how to set up like for Adobe Fresco for an iPad, which I do have. I just haven't done it yet. So now I'm like not really scared, but like I know doing it, I have to like make sure I know how to do everything right. But I think I'm gonna set that up because once I have it set up and I can use my iPhone, I think that'd be really cool. I just gotta make sure my phone's like on airplane mode or something, so I don't get some of my buddies giving me a call randomly. But yeah, I'm gonna do that because then I can show Adobe Dimension and then bring that into Aero, because there wasn't a ton of resources when I was trying to do it, and most of the things I tried to do didn't work, but I found like a process that worked for me. So a big thing with bringing in 3D assets that you're trying to work with for Adobe Aero is, I'm trying to think in design too, some of it's file size. It's also like certain 3D objects you use don't work. So I think it was any transparent textures, and so it's stuff like that that you don't know until you try to export it and do it, and then it just gives you an error message. But the system I found that works for me is I initially created the design in Adobe Dimension I wanted, then I just tried to upload it in for Aero and like, oh, that didn't work. And so then I basically restarted because I already knew what the design was, and I added each element one at a time and exported it, brought it into Aero, made sure that worked. And I think I did that for 20 times and just kept adding on one element until it just stopped working. And then I took the element away and I'm like, okay, this is what I'm working with for Aero right now. And it worked for me. It's probably not the best system. There's probably better ways of doing it, but that's how I figured out what 3D models weren't working with Aero, what textures I could and couldn't use. Yeah. Which, well, I'm thinking about it. I'm gonna write that down, Jack. Thank you. Reflector. Dope. And if anyone's just tuning in and they don't know what's going on or who I am or what's going on at all, just let me know and we can give a recap and catch you up. If not, though, I'm just gonna keep kind of cruising ahead. I keep looking down because I have this little reference in front of me from past years, so I kind of know what text to kind of use. So right here, see sitemap for merge locations in the park. This is why it was also nice to go back in and for the actual map we're doing and add this little M, which because that one I can copy that, and then we'll just go ahead and actually let me just group it before I forget, and then we'll just go ahead and paste this icon down here. So that's showing where on the map, you know, it is. This adds like an extra little element. Ooh, let's cut out over here. Here's my iPad. It just kind of went to sleep, but let me click on it again, make sure my stream is still good. Sometimes it drops like that. But no worries, and looks like we are still good. So that's great. Which is sometimes I ramble on, honestly, it's just me kind of thinking out loud. I think it's starting to come together a little bit. It needs a little more work, like refinement. But we're getting there. I'm just gonna save it, because I save stuff a million times. But, you know, there are worse things to do. Let me jump over here. So, I'm gonna look over this sketch I had, which I think had like maybe 2 lines of text, and then just start listing the different like restaurants and places that are around. So there's nothing super crazy, but you know, it still works. I'm just gonna copy that, and let's go Control V and paste it. And let's go ahead and ungroup it. Let's delete that top one because I don't think we need that. Let's delete that, and let's just work with this. And then let me type for a moment. Jack saying still good. Awesome. TNFs. Oh nice, that fits around 2 lines. That's great. Let me just kind of bring this up a little bit. Cool, cool. Just so it's kind of goes with that. I'm just gonna file save because I just do that a bunch anyways. And we got a good amount of people in the chat too. So if you're in there just chilling, you know, just say hi, give me a little smiley face, let me know, you know, that you're there. Because if not, you know, I'm just talking out loud while I work on this fun stuff. And if you don't say hi, no worries. I just appreciate you guys tuning in, because it's really cool. So yeah, it's saved. Yeah, I need the text. So I think my best bet is taking that text from this sponsorship page up here. Just so the elements kind of stay the same and it's laid out in, you know, a consistent way. Yeah, I'll copy that. I'll go edit, paste in place. And let's just bring this up here. That's not fun, because imagine if I bring that in, yeah, it's going to cut that word off. Huh. This can still work. Let's go in here and let me bring these down. I think a lot of these names we can just go ahead and get rid of. Let's mess with one of these first, and then maybe I can just duplicate it. What's really cool too is all the different vendors that they use are all like local places over in like Tampa. They're all founded there. They really try to like help grow the community like a lot, which is really cool. Because, you know, this could be a huge opportunity for like a small restaurant to get involved with like festival. You know, so they don't have to like compete with like, you know, all the big vendors. And then let me make this one a little bold. Sweet. Let me add an enter right there. Let me copy that. Let me do that. And let's just pretend like those are all different restaurants. Which I always hate it whenever the same words just repeat, because it's just so obvious for me. And it just takes me out of like the realness of the project. So let me just change the names really fast, and maybe all the descriptions stay the same for now. Which all these places sound really good too. Which I know I say this a lot too, but if you're digging the music, you can find the link down below for one of my good buddies, Seth Lynn, incredible musician. And yeah, you can show him some love. You can also find his music on SoundCloud, which I may actually start using the link for that instead of his Instagram. But he said he'd prefer Instagram. But he's got some great music. Let me do this. Let me call it Hot Donuts. Go. Cool. Let me zoom out a little bit. So yeah, even that text just feels a little more real. And then, you know, kind of a way around this, let's just copy that bottom part, and let's just paste it up here at the top. Just so that way, like at first glance, you know, maybe it looks like, you know, it's a different list, just because it has a different one starting it out. Which, yeah, I think that helps break it up. Ooh, except for those. I mean, which I know these are just little things, but, you know, at first glance, it helps me a lot. Cool, and so these are all, yeah, the local restaurants that are being, you know, featured, that are delicious, that are going to be there. This section was very fast. Which really we're going to last 15 minutes of my stream. That's crazy. Whenever I'm doing this, time always flies by. Like, I love it because then I can just sit here and focus on, like, one project for that 2-hour interval. Where normally I end up doing 80 things. And then I end up with a tough decision is, do I just try to wrap it up really fast and finish this whole project? Or do I actually go and continue it tomorrow? Which I think I'm going to, you know, finish it tomorrow at least. And maybe I can get into the mock-up side of it too. Of like actually building my own mock-up in Photoshop or Dimension. You know, for, yeah, okay. Sorry, again, I'm just thinking out loud. We're going to keep working on this, make as much progress as we can, and then I think tomorrow will be the last day working on this. And then we can actually, sorry, the headphones are moving around. And then we can actually go and embed it into that case study for this project, which I think would be really cool. Well, let's actually look at everything and see if there's any edits I want to do with these current pages before I go and like start working on newer pages. So let me go up to the top. Cool, so right here we're about to start viewing it. So I know there's still some changes I want to do to the actual logo system, which will be, some of the feedback I've gotten is this G isn't really used anywhere else. Oh, and Jack's saying, huh, right? Live streaming gives me the time to play around with fun projects I normally would never have time for. I totally agree. Like, if not, like, it would have been so hard to find time to, like, really push this project even further. But I think having, like, a full embedded flip book, having, like, the website, really makes this whole branding project, like, that much more stronger. So, yeah. Let me click on some of these other pages. So then we open it up, and you would see these first inside pages. You'd have the About section, and you would have, you know, the main presenting logo and the other Gasparilla events. You go and click Next. We have Beyond the Festival, so we start showing the photos and how, what else this nonprofit does. So what they're really trying to push right here is recycled tunes, that they introduce kids to music from the community, and that they actually have, like, this money that they set aside for local musicians to help fund them, which is really cool to help grow that community in Tampa. But I think these photos are the ones that don't really fit then. So I would want to have photos of, like, maybe them giving the guitars to kids or school, or, like, you know, local musicians, and, like, rather than just the festival, showing, like, what that foundation does on the off season, because that's the goal of this spread. And yeah, let me click an arrow, go to next key. So yeah, this is the poster design. So they'd have a local artist submit their poster, and then we talk about the artist. Nothing too crazy. This is where they list all the different sponsors and the captains of the event. So this is all like the people from the community who've donated, and they just really try to have a section to highlight them. The actual lineup or the actual schedule of the festival. So this is like what band is playing on like what stage. Yeah. Which is just a little fun fact, just super funny. Sorry, I'm like talking right into the microphone here. So you can see some of the booklets from Bonnaroo when I've gone there in the past. And this has been a big inspiration for a lot of the booklets I've done for this. So I went to Bonnaroo probably way too many times. So this is 2014. This one is 2015, 2013, and 2016. So Bonnaroo has way more funding than Gasparilla. So their actual books, you can see they have like a spine on them. They're not just stapled. They're way nicer. So this has been a big inspiration when looking at these. But I'm bringing up that schedule because I can kind of show you how Bonnaroo solves that problem. Because they have way more artists and like a ton more stages. So you can see they have it all kind of spread out where like the stages are on top, the times. It's like a good like grid system to kind of work with. But one of the funniest things about their stages too, which I don't know if we can even see the names, they're called what stage, which stage, this tint, that tint, and the other tint. So imagine being at a music festival. You have all these, people who are, having fun, doing crazy stuff, and you're trying to tell them where you're gonna be at a certain time. You can be like, oh yeah, did you see can't think of an artist's name. Did you see Kings of Leon? They're playing at what stage, later. And then you can be like, oh, what stage are they playing at? And I'm like, yeah, what stage? Or no, which stage are you talking about? And I'm like, no, not which stage, what stage? And it just causes confusion, but it's also part of like the fun and the madness of the festival, which I think is like just a brilliant idea, just to add like these extra elements that like, I don't know, are just fun. But yeah, sorry, a little sidetracked, right there, distracted, but it's cool. So I'm looking at the other ones. So we built the map for this festival as well, which is one of my favorite parts, where you go in and you break it down. I had some good advice from Tunk, which I actually need to go back and do. We might do that tomorrow. On Jack saying LOL, right? Because it's super confusing for the stage names. They call them what stage, which stage, this tint, and that tint. Yeah, it's hilarious, and I love it because it's just mass confusion for all these people who are at a festival and like, they're already distracted by everything that's going on. Yeah. But yeah, so here's the map. Maybe I add some more stuff to the index as well. Let me keep going. So the kids zone, I need to fix definitely the typography here because the Saturday and Sunday sections are like small and like awkwardly placed. This little like pirate treasure map, I need to push this even further. Maybe I have it at like 3D, so it's like a slight angle with a little bit of colors. I'm thinking if I can add like waves or palm tree or something that helps it look more like a pirate map. So I don't know what that is yet, but that's definitely something I'd want to do. Maybe after the stream, I'll look up some inspiration on Pinterest and kind of see how other people create their pirate maps. So yeah, here's where we're just doing with like local drinks and merch and local eats and treats. That's what they call them, so I figured I'd stick with that. Looking at this, I need to bring that down. The Cheers to Tampa #1 export, that's a little wonky. But yeah, so this text I'm going to bring down, which these changes I'll probably make right before we end the stream. This section was for recycling, for the statistics about recycling and giving back. So that's one we're going to work on tomorrow and finish up. This one was, which I have the notes on the actual file, but this is for the grid for all the different sponsors logos, which is just, that one will be easy. This is the back cover. So yeah, that was the booklet we've been working on, and it's getting really far. So I'm excited about that. So yeah, tomorrow I want to actually go and clean up, all the designing, go and fill in any elements that aren't fully finished, and complete those like last 2 pages that I just kind of showed. Then we can actually go into creating a mock-up, or we can also show, I just drew a blank. I know exactly what I was going to say, but I just lost it, which I hate when that happens. What was I about to say? Man, it's going to come to me randomly. So let me just design for another couple minutes. And if anyone has any questions or anything, let me know, please. Because I love some questions. If you're like, what's going on? Why are you doing this? Well, I'm doing it because I like it. There we go. And also, I'm just kind of bringing these elements down. There's no secret formula or recipe or anything to it, at least that I've found so far. It's mostly about like always taking a second and zooming out, looking at it without the guides, and then seeing what stands out to you, then going back in there, adjusting those fine details, and just kind of redoing the process over and over again. At least that's the way I've learned to do it for myself. Oh yeah, I remember what I was going to say. The other thing we could also do tomorrow is showing how to use some of these external sites to embed, a flip book into a Behance project. Because that's something I do want to do. Like, let me jump over here, show this Behance page, for maybe the 100th time. But it's worth it. It communicates what I'm trying to say. So in this actual case study on my page, you can see where I break down the branding basically. But when you start to get down here, you can see a mock-up of like this welcome book. So directly below this, I want to have it to where it's very interactive and people can click through it, and it goes page by page and it feels like the physical book would. So that's something else we can do tomorrow, is we can refine the mock-up and we can show how it'll flip and then hopefully knock out the last like 2 pages. So that's, see, I always click that button. And maybe that's not on me then. Maybe that's like the software design, if it, I don't know, there's so often where I click that home button instead of going to file. At least it's a quick fix and it jumps back in and out very easily, but it happens. But yeah, I don't think I should jump into these pages yet, because I have the sketches there, but I don't think I have enough time to really fully build them. Also, I'm trying to think of what else to do that I can do really quickly, because I only have about 5 minutes left in my stream. But honestly, I think this feels like a good spot to kind of wrap it up, because I already gave a recap of everything going on. I think if I dive into anything else, then it's just going to be taken to the next level, and it'll be a lot more time. I don't know. What do you guys think? Well, actually, I don't know. I see you guys. You may tell me just keep designing. I may be working all day. I'm trying to see if anything immediately stands out to me right now. Like, was there anything small I'm missing? Which, I gotta figure out how I'm gonna mess with this section. I'm gonna play with this pirate map for a second. So you can see I'm minimizing the InDesign. I'm going back into Illustrator. And yeah, this was what I was kind of playing with for like a pirate map, like a treasure map almost. So I wonder if there's other ways of doing this. Let's bring in some outside elements and experiment for a minute. And what I'm looking for is burnt paper. That's not it. So originally, before I actually had the branding and the style locked in, one of my ideas I really wanted to experiment with was with like burnt paper. Because I'm thinking like, oh, what could be piratey, Like, let me just jump in really fast. And you can see how like these edges are burnt. I know a lot of people are doing torn paper, but I figured a burnt paper could be a cool element for, a festival. And so I actually experimented, I can't even speak, I actually experimented it with, still can't say it, I actually experimented with it myself, and like burnt some paper around the edges just to try to make it my own, and then kind of went and, yeah, started using that. Eventually I got to a point where I didn't really like it how it came out, and so I ended up not using it. But the reason why I'm bringing it up right now is because I wonder if it could be an interesting element to bring in, to this more piratey map. And maybe that's just like the paper texture. So let's try a couple different things before we wrap up. I'm gonna copy that. I'll make sure I have that shape. Actually, I'm gonna ungroup this. All I want is this background shape, which is that. And I want to go into window, and let's try transparency. And then you can see I have that shape selected. Let me double click here, and let me paste. So what I'm doing is I'm pasting that inside of this. What I'm running into is the shape behind it. So let me actually go back, because I don't think we really saw what happened right there. So I have that copied. This is deleted right now. Okay, so I have it copied. Then I make sure I have that selected. Double click in here. Let me paste. And you can tell that paper texture is starting to get in there. The edges could be kind of cool if the map, you know, had that burnt edge as well. Yeah, maybe instead of the thick lines, maybe I'd do that. Or if I could somehow show it on, like, I don't know, we're more experimenting with ideas and seeing what works. Because that's how, you know, at least I actually design. So let's go Command Z for a little bit. Let's do this. Let's just make a shape behind it. Let's go Object Arrange. And honestly, this might not even work. Let's go in here, select that. Let's paste what we had in there, which is kind of cool. Let me make it white. Let me start playing with that shape where it's arranged in here. Is that like layer mask in Photoshop? Kind of. So this is whenever you go to Window, you can go to Transparency. Make sure you can actually see that. Yep. It brings up this little box, and then allows you to kind of paste in objects over top of it. Which, if Jack or someone else is watching, they may have a better explanation. But I think of it as more as like blending modes in a way, to where it is kind of like a layer mask, but it doesn't actually, you know, paste the entire image in there. It does it to where it like kind of blends it in a way. So I don't really know how to describe it, but you can kind of see that it didn't have the original colors. Then it drops in and like kind of makes, I think everything that was black kind of makes it like transparent, and yeah. But honestly, I don't think that's working for the background. I'm gonna delete that background shape. I think working with that one, having this selected, going and just pasting what I had in there, and then pasting that paper texture. Oh, and Gadir saying yes. Thank you. No, that's good. Because to be honest, when I start pushing some of these things, like, I don't know everything about them, but, you know, sometimes they can work. Which I do kind of like where that's going. So, let me switch back to that. Let me make sure I only have that selected. Go Command G. Let's just copy it. Let's just bring it back in here for now. So open back up InDesign. Let's get rid of that map. Let's go Command V. Let's just paste that in here. Let's bring it down to like 75%. So you can see right here is where like the page splits. I'm just trying to make sure I don't have like the X directly on that. I'm just kind of seeing where else I can have this text. Let's preview it. Yeah, there's still a lot of odd space. Oh, and Jack's saying, yeah, it acts like Photoshop masking where it uses value to determine the transparency. Black equals transparent, white equals opaque, mids become semi-transparent. So that's actually really good to know. Thank you, Jack. Because it's like something where like I kind of know what it does because I've seen it and like it's reacting, but I don't know how to put that into words. So I really appreciate you doing that rather than me, you know, making up something on the spot. I appreciate you. Let me keep a little checking this over here. And if anyone has any questions too, let me know. You know, if not, we got some awesome people in the chat who also know everything, which is great. So to be honest, I may just dive into working on this. Seems like we got a good amount of people watching, and you know, I'm still in the zone, so let's dive into working on the next section. Because why not? Let's go for a longer stream today. So I'm just going to copy all of that. Let's bring that down here. Let's zoom in a little bit, kind of see what we're working with. If anyone, which actually I should give a little recap again. If anyone's joining in, because I know we have a lot of newer people, we're working on a booklet for a music festival right now. So it's a pirate-themed music festival, but the trick is to try to make it look cool and not like too kiddish, you know, not like a like a seafood menu at a, you know, not like a children's menu at like a seafood restaurant. We want it to be like cool, piratey, to where it's almost like hipster. And Jack's saying, "Ha, you're good. You know what it does, Colby. Hard to work and talk at the same time." It is, because sometimes I end up just like rambling on, which I'm still doing. But thank you, Jack. So yeah, we had a lot of the other pages. So I just want to show these really fast so people can get an idea of what we're working with. And then I'll just jump into that one page. Yeah, let's do this. Let me make sure stream quality is good before I dive into this. Looks like we're still pretty good. And if you're tuning in right now, you're in Behance over on the live page. Go ahead and click on through to that. Hopefully, you know, that'd be pretty cool. Or if you're joining late, give me a thumbs up. Hopefully, I don't know if that helps anything, but, you know, it's like, why not? Let me ungroup that. Which I'm very glad there's not like a thumbs down feature too. Because, you know, if we start getting some people who are mean, you know, that could not be fun. And if you like watching all these live streams too, you can see Jack Watson is in the chat. She has a really cool live stream. She's going to be going live, I think probably in about 2 hours, if I'm guessing correctly. So if you follow her, you can get a notification whenever that happens, and you can see some really great content. I don't know what you're working on today. I know you've been doing a lot of like 3D isometric designs, as well as the donut, I think it was Donut Shop in Adobe XD. So it's like a lot of variety of content, which is really great. But I do really love all the different streamers who've been on Behance. It's a really like nice community too, and they're all like, everyone streams differently, which is really interesting to see, you know? Because some people like they'll stream the entire time, not really talk too much. For me, I'm just probably rambling on way too much. And then there's people in the beginning, or like in the middle. There's also a really good stream that was happening yesterday. If any of y'all are familiar with Hank Washington, he's a really incredible designer. He's really known for like his illustrations of like, oh, there's a typo right there. Okay, sorry, I had to think out loud. He has really cool illustration style where he makes like these fuzzies, is what he calls them, with like this soft like scatter brush, I think. But what he started doing was, well, what he does professionally is he focuses on like brand identity and like designing for brands. And he has this program that he did yesterday that he just started where it almost shuffles you what, it's like a shuffle and it mixes up and surprises you randomly with what topic you're going to do for your brand. And yeah, he did that, and I think he got like a gluten-free restaurant that he's going to be doing the branding for. So I think he's going to do about 5 episodes and show the entire process from beginning to end. So that was really cool to see yesterday. Sorry, I got to keep typing while I talk. And yeah, it's going to be really cool to see how he does that whole brand discovery from beginning to end. Because yeah, he's a great designer. So even just watching that, it was really dope just to be able to see the way he goes about it. Because he built an inspiration board, which is something I always do. But typically I use like Pinterest, you know, to kind of do that. But it was really smart. He kind of was able to incorporate some of the Adobe products and use Adobe stock to build the inspiration board. Which I was like, oh, that's smart, because that makes sense. And Jack's saying, I try to catch Hank's streams when I see him go live. Yeah. Yeah, and Hank, he's a super chill guy. So I'm going to add like a square here right now. Because this is going to be like a separate graphic I probably make in Illustrator. And then bring in... Yeah, and then just bring in... Go, so that kind of works right there. I need to keep scrolling over here and checking what my sketch looks like. Here's another cooler little logo to kind of work with. Is this something that they already do too? So they use GMF, but they have like the little recycle arrows that circle all the way around it. So that could be a nice little thing to make an Illustrator and bring in here. Sorry, excuse me. And then I need to bring in some logos down here as well. which I think there's 4. And then let me double check what those logos actually were. So yeah, these ones are for like the government logos basically. So let me check in here on the sponsorship page and see what I'm working with, because I know I did save a lot of the logos ahead of time, which has been nice. You can kind of see my files aren't, you know, the cleanest, but they work. And if you're tuning in, you have any questions, just let me know. I'm just still going with it. Yeah, these are the logos I want. Which they aren't all of them, so I'm just going to go ahead and drop in some of these. Which maybe I'll just drop these in by themselves. Let's bring in these 4. And you can see whenever you have other people's logos, like, yeah, who knows what we're going to run into. They're going to be pixelated, they're going to have a white background. There's gonna, it's just layout wise, it's just like a nightmare. But this is a real problem that you have to deal with, so let's just explore it and see if we can figure it out. Kind of just bring all these in. Go down to 50%. If anyone's tuned in too, and you're like, oh, this is cool, but this isn't what I'm looking for, let me know what it is you're kind of interested in. I'm really trying to experiment with a lot of different Adobe programs, so if there's something you want to see that you don't get to see enough of, let me know, and it'd be fun to just, maybe we can explore it together. Like, not right now, but maybe like next week's stream. Which is a side note too, I think for June I made of switching which days I do my stream. So keeping that in mind, if you're following me, then you'll get a notification whenever I go live. Or on social media, I'll be posting on there too. So if you find my links down below and want to give me a follow on any of those platforms, which is like a shameless plug, I guess, then you'll go and see like what my new schedule is going to be. Not 100% sure what it's going to be yet, but it'll be at least twice a week. And I kind of like having it on Saturdays and Sundays right now because it feels like it's easier to kind of promote that way. Because if I have random times throughout the week, then I end up having to have like, you know, this very weird schedule. But if I say, you know, at the same time, Saturday and Sunday, it's just like, flows a little better. But it could be nice to have the weekends, you know, to do some fun stuff. Some file save, just gotta do that like a million times. Here we go, let me double check this over here. Everything's still looking good. Dope. And then up here, let me add some more text. I feel like I'm about to cough, so sorry if that's loud. Hopefully it won't be. I think we're good. Maybe. Oh, and Gadir saying, Kobe, I'm so happy every time I'm learning from you more and more. That's awesome. I'm really glad to hear that. Thank you. No, it makes me feel really happy. And if there's anything you want to see, or it's like, you're like, I don't know how to do this thing, let me know. And we can see if we can figure it out real fast. Because honestly, this has been great, just being able to stay focused on like a certain project. Plus, I also love having these, you know, videos saved. I think it's gonna be really cool, you know, to add to, you know, case studies for projects. Which I would recommend too. Even if you don't have the ability to stream on Behance, you know, you can always do it on YouTube or Twitch, and just start, you know, maybe, you know, if you're comfortable with it, you could start building those videos for your actual portfolio of you working on the projects. Because I imagine if I was wanting to hire someone, it's a really great asset just to be able to look and see like, okay, how's their workflow? You know, is this someone who has like a normal personality who, you know, I could be cool working with? I don't know. There's a lot of benefits to it. But I think it's Gadir, I think it's GG. I appreciate it very much. It's glad to have you back here too. No, that's dope. It's kind of good I'm knocking out these other pages today, because that means tomorrow during, so it's, yeah, I should probably say that. Tomorrow I'll be doing my stream at the same time, so it's 12 to 2, which is like Florida time, Eastern Standard Time, which right now it's like 2:13 in my time, so I'm going over, but just keep that in mind. Tomorrow around the same time, you can find me streaming. And I think since we're getting a lot of this done right now, hopefully tomorrow will be more about making the mock-ups, about doing some of the more complex stuff about once you're finished with the notebook. Or once we're finished with this booklet. I just can't type. Which this isn't the super fun part. I just gotta get these sections in. And normally, like, I'd have all this text already in like a document that I can just copy and paste, but I don't right now. So it seems like the best time to go ahead and do it. Because adding like real text in here instead of like lorem ipsum or filler text, you know, really helps the project just feel real at first glance, which I think is huge. Let me double check the stream. I realized my iPad went to sleep, so I can make sure I didn't miss anything and that we're still good. It looks like we're still good, so that's dope. So you can see what I'm typing right here. It's for free bike valet at the festival. So let's say if you ride a bike and you're like, oh, I don't feel comfortable locking it up somewhere. They have like a separate tent with volunteers or like employees that actually, you know, they give you a number, you can check it in and out. So I think that's a really cool idea, because which I'm typing right here, their biggest, you know, thing, or one of their goals is try to promote, you know, sustainable transportation. Oh, let me double check this though, make sure this is still good. My iPad is still loading a little bit. Huh. Is my quality okay? Yeah, sorry if it's not. Let me make sure it's still good. Which the stream is looking weird on my end, so I'm gonna go ahead and sign offline and not push it too hard, because I'm wondering if the quality is good. Hold on a second. Sorry, I'm like trying to preview it over here. If the quality is good for you, just say yeah, you're good, or like you can let me know. Sorry if it's not. Let me make sure it's still good. Okay, no, we're still good. It was just like my preview device that looks really weird for some reason. Cool. So sorry, I know it's like distracted for a minute, but you know, if I wasn't streaming, I just wanted to make sure I stopped it. So yeah, let's keep going into this then. Oh, and Jack saying you're looking good on here. Okay, cool. It's just sometimes my iPad goes to sleep, and then it also looks exactly like it is. Because afterwards, then I'm getting like the pinwheel, and it's just like loading constantly, which would be like the same thing I'd get if, you know, my Wi-Fi dropped or something. So I don't know. That always happens, and I'm going a little longer than what I normally do, but it's just because I saw Behance had me featured on the, you know, the one live page, which is really cool. Which I'm really glad a lot of y'all probably came in from that. So I figured I might as well use this as an opportunity to keep working. Something else I should do is double check the spelling. So we can do that together in InDesign in just a minute, once I finish typing this section. I'm just gonna paste this text as like the subheader for all of these, because I know y'all don't really want to sit here and just watch me type, because that's no fun for anyone. But 2 more left. Dos más. Sweet, so now we got that done. Sorry, that took a little longer than I thought, but you know, now we got it done forever, so that's great. Let me bring that in, go File, Save. Make sure we're still good over here, which we should be. Nice. If it was can't speak again. You know, that's what happens when I'm saying too much. But if anyone's just tuning in right now, let me know what's up. You know, let me know. Just be like, hey, just got here. What are you even doing? And I'll be like, okay, here's what we're doing. Well, if you've been with me for a little bit, no worries. You know, we're gonna keep working on this. Should go ahead and scale this down a little bit. Here we go. Make sure we're still good. Cool. So let's go ahead and click this text box and let's go to type, and or let's right click it. Nope, let's highlight it. That's what I want to do. Let's highlight it and then go to spelling and check spelling. So that's fine. I think that's like the name of a company. Eliminated. I want this one. So we'll click change. It looks like that was it there. Let me see if there's any other sections up here really fast I should check the spelling of. Those are okay because those are names. Yeah, I think we're okay. And then I want to bring this up because there's also logos that go down here. So that's going to be a little tricky to fit in here. Because there's like 5? You know, maybe I won't do that. Because I don't know if I have those exact logos. And they're always kind of annoying to work with. And right here, I don't know if this is going to work, but let's just see about adding additional elements. Go, we can zoom back out. Let's look at this. We're getting there. Go file, save. Let me double check some stuff on this end again. We're still good. And sponsors. Okay, so this is why I have this entire folder full of sponsors, which is always a nightmare. Because some are JPEG, some are PNG, some backgrounds, some don't. Some are pixelated, some are great. So let me just drop these all in here. Oh, there's like 55 more. Oh, I may have messed up here. There's a better way to do this. Now I'm not sure if this will be the best bet, but let's make a row and then let's try it. Because there are like 60 of these, then that's annoying to work with. Let's just bring it all over. Actually, no, let's keep it right there. Let's bring it a little down, let's bring it a little over, and then let's just scale up all of these. Hopefully get like right there. Actually, before I do that, I'm going to select all these, and let's just duplicate these rows. Hold down Alt and drag it. Let's just keep doing it. So this is roughly how many logos we're going to fit in here, which is still a lot. So I wonder if there's a way to drop in. So I know XD is really great about dropping in multiple at a time, and I feel like they don't have that in here. But we can try it. Okay, sweet. So this is what I want, where I'm actually clicking there. That saves us like a lot of time. So let me go back in here and just select multiple ones. And I think I'll lift off. So that was the last one I did. Let's just select all these. Let's bring in as many as we can. So you can see 62 logos. Jeez. And then I'll have to just play with these and scale them, and yeah. And when I select these, I'm clicking that little dot right there, so I select the actual image inside of it, rather than like the whole like frame. Here we go. We're almost done with all the logos, at least for this page. And then we can figure out how you'd actually like lay this out where you can see all the logos. And let's just go and save that. Okay, everything still looks good. Just my iPad went to sleep again. I gotta make sure I change the settings on that so it doesn't go to sleep as much. So yeah, let's scroll back up a little bit. So we have content now on like every page, which is really cool, except for the back cover, which I don't know if that's something that we just kind of keep blank or if we actually figure out what we're gonna do with that. The past years, they have the exact same ad on both of these. So maybe that's something that we leave blank, and if it is like they have to have that sponsor logo on the back, that's something that they add later on. Yeah, because if anything, maybe I'd add like designed by me or like hosted by the Gasparilla Music Foundation or something. So I don't know. I'll go and save it. I think I'm getting close to wrapping up, because I think I don't really want to dive into too many other programs, because I know like I should wrap it up, but I just want to make sure that the stuff in InDesign right here is, you know, good enough. So I'm doing just looking at each page by page. before I go ahead and log off. Ooh, that page is just crazy. Cool. Yeah, so I think I'm gonna go ahead and call it with this project. Well, it's not like officially done, but I think it's done for like this stream for today. But yeah, no, if you guys are watching the video right now, I appreciate each and every one of you. Go ahead and check out my social media links below. You can also go and check out where this project is gonna live. So on my Behance page, when you sign on, you can go and see this first project. Right here is where I break down like the branding for this project that I'm kind of working with. So you can see the title, we have the challenge and solution if you want to go back and read why I made the decisions I did. I have the actual logo system, so I do want to push this even further. The symbols we're doing, which I had some great feedback today about like a mute symbol and sword. I think that was from Tunk, if I remember correctly. Yeah, it was Tunk, which is really cool. I appreciate him. So the typography, the colors, the mock-ups for the booklets as well. Yeah, and the goal is to have it embedded inside this project, like right below this image. So yeah, maybe we'll get into that tomorrow. But if anyone's just tuning in right now, I just want to let you know I appreciate each and every one of you for tuning in. It's cool to have people actually tuned in for like most of the whole thing. So thank you, Jack, Gadir, which is GG, I think, Tunk. Who else do we have in here? Nicholas was asking questions, which is dope. Martin, HMQ. I think it's and Donna. I really appreciate all you guys tuning in the chat. You know, it was really great having people here. And yeah, thank you very much. In the future, if you want to go and check out some of my replays, you can go on my Behance page, go to videos. This is where we are right now. But you can see the part 1 and part 2 of us actually laying the foundation for this in InDesign. So part 1 is great because you can see how I build the master pages, page numbers, all those like specific elements. But if you want to check out some other stuff, I have stuff in Dimension, WXD. Yeah, and I'll be live again tomorrow at this exact same time. So if you're... Yeah, and this video will eventually go down there after processes. But if you're tuning in today, I just want to say I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you very much. And wrap it up, I'm probably going to go to a title slide and then maybe like fade it out. Hopefully I have like a cooler transition. So yeah, please hold for a sec while this wraps up. And thank you very much, everyone. Yeah.